7 red flags and anti-patterns that might be preventing your team from having effective sprint reviews. Anti-pattern number 1 is the first time the product owner sees the demo. It's a really bad idea to show what the team has built for the first time to the product owner in the sprint review together with the stakeholders. What if what the team built doesn't meet the requirements? The requirements previously wrote, defined by the team, but also by the product owner. What if what the team has built doesn't meet the definition of done? You're demoing unfinished user stories. That's bad. Leave that for a waterfall model where we work in isolation. The development team works in isolation for months, maybe even years, and then shows the finished product to stakeholders, the product owner, or other business people at the end of a journey without getting feedback throughout. That's the waterfall model. In Agile, in Scrum, continuous feedback throughout. Business people, customers, developers, everyone needs to be working and collaborating together on every single day, on a daily basis. What you should be doing instead is, as soon as the development of a user story is completed, show it to the product owner. We want this early feedback from the product owner. That's what Agile is all about. Getting this early feedback will allow us to make necessary changes if ever required and if it doesn't impact the sprint goal. Early changes are always cheaper and easier to do instead of waiting 10 days, 11 days just before the sprint review and then showing it to the product owner and then the product owner realizing that it's not what was required. And just imagine at this point making changes in the code, rushed just before the sprint review. That's not Agile. That's waterfall. That's something else. But it's not Agile. I see the same pattern repeating with many Scrum teams. It's as if the product owner is outside of a Scrum team. That's nonsense. As per the Scrum guide, the product owner is part of a Scrum team and the Scrum team should be collaborating on a daily basis. It's always better to go to the sprint review as a team, prepared as a team. The demo has been reviewed by the team. We know exactly what we will show and we do it as a team. Anti-pattern number 2, buggy demo. The goal of a sprint should be to deliver a working increment of a product, valuable working increment of a product. And you can demo this working increment in the sprint review to all the stakeholders so that we can get this feedback, crucial feedback from stakeholders. But I see many Scrum teams going into the sprint review with buggy software. Something buggy has been built, tons of bugs, and you're cheating the stakeholders by doing that. And many teams also don't mention that. They sort of hide this bug. They hide this bug. They don't tell the stakeholders that they are using mock data instead of live data. They try to trick the stakeholders. You're not only tricking the stakeholders, you're tricking yourself. The goal of a sprint review is to get feedback from stakeholders and to get correct feedback from stakeholders. You should be transparent. You should be visible. Come on. You already know that. It just makes sense. You're tricking yourself by doing that. Anti-pattern number 3, selfish product owner. No one in the team is allowed to speak in the sprint review except for the product owner. The product owner is the only one showing the slides, even demoing the product. No one speaks except for a product owner. The goal, one of the goals of a sprint review is to also showcase not only the product being built, but also your team, that team spirit, that unit that you have as a team. Showcase that in the sprint review. Everyone will be pleased. I'm sure that your stakeholders will be pleased to see that you are a team, a single unit working together. And it's a great place to show that in the sprint review. What I like doing is giving the opportunity to everyone in the team to participate, even if it means a few seconds only in the sprint review. There's tons of ways to do that. Just be creative with that. Anti-pattern number 4, the roadmap is completely ignored. Yes, the primary goal of a sprint review is to showcase what the team built during this past sprint. The working increment, valuable working increment to get that crucial feedback from stakeholders. But the Scrum Guide also mentions that we need to talk about the progress towards the product goal. Extremely important. I see that too often, going into a sprint review and only seeing the demo of what was built. That's it. And then they end the sprint review. No one talks about the roadmap. No one talks about the product goal, the progress towards the product goal. No one knows what's coming next. The product backlog, the product goal need to be discussed in the sprint review, and an easy way to do that is to simply display the burn-up chart. Simple report, easy to maintain, visible, really good because it contains the minimum information required in terms of what's coming next, exactly what the stakeholders want to see, the priority of the backlog, what's coming next, the deliverables of the team, and we can all agree together with the stakeholders, the development team, the Scrum team, everyone is agreeing together on what will be done next to really bring value to customers. And type pattern number 5, no stakeholders in the sprint reviews. Again, the goal of a sprint review is to get feedback from stakeholders on what we built, on what the team built. Get this valuable feedback from stakeholders, and this can't be done if stakeholders are not joining the sprint reviews. There's many reasons why they wouldn't be joining the sprint reviews. Maybe they don't see the importance, the value of joining the sprint reviews. Maybe there's conflicting meetings, important meetings that they need to go to instead at the same time. But for me, it all comes down to value, the perceived value. It's clear that the stakeholders are not seeing the value in attending this sprint review. The person to fix this is the product owner. The product owner should be continuously selling this sprint review, getting people excited to join, giving some trailers of what's coming to get people excited to join the sprint review. And during the sprint review, don't bore the stakeholders with hundreds of slides, boring slides. Keep it simple. What we said we would do, what we accomplished, demo the product, the challenges that we had, maybe get the help from stakeholders to unblock some impediments and what's coming next. As simple as this. And you don't need to demo everything that the team done. Maybe some technical, obscure thing that the team done. Maybe you can mention it, but you don't need to show it. The stakeholders will be bored. Show the features, the finished products, exciting stuff. The demo, the sprint review needs to be exciting so that stakeholders want to join, and you need also to show them that you value their feedback. That's the most important part. And type pattern number 6, you're only showing the work that has been done. As per the Scrum guide, the development team should be demonstrating the work that has been done. The product owner should be talking about what we said we would do, what was completed and what was not completed. But what do you do about the things that were not completed? Do you demonstrate that? Do you demo this part? I mentioned earlier that buggy or unfinished items shouldn't be demonstrated in the sprint review, but you still need to be flexible. If the product owner and the team feels that the product is good enough to get feedback from stakeholders, even though it's unfinished, even though it's buggy, why not show it? Why not demonstrate it in the sprint review? Obviously, don't hide the fact that it's buggy or unfinished. You tell the stakeholders that there's bugs. You explain why. You tell the stakeholders that it's unfinished. You explain why. But the goal here is to get feedback, and if it's good enough to get feedback, why not show it? For example, let's say a user story is completely done and ready to be demonstrated in the sprint review. But 5 minutes prior to the sprint review, the team realizes that one of the APIs that we use to retrieve data from another system completely down. We can't fix it. We won't have time to fix it. The only way that we can demonstrate this user story is to connect to mock data or test data or fake data. What do? Do you demonstrate that in the sprint review? I would say yes, because the goal is to get feedback. And this thing was done. You're now pointing it to fake data or mock data so that you can get feedback from stakeholders. Obviously, it's not ideal. Maybe you won't be able to demonstrate everything that the team built, but at least you're showing something to get feedback instead of nothing. And the final anti-pattern, customers are not invited. I very rarely attend sprint reviews where customers or actual users are invited, and it's a shame, but I get it. Most teams are reluctant to invite their customers and users to the sprint review, and there's multiple reasons for that. Maybe some teams don't even know who their customers or users are, which is really bad if it's you. Maybe it's too much pressure for the team if users and customers attend the sprint review. What if a demonstration fails? We can't demonstrate the working software. What if customers start asking changes, tons of changes that we are not planning to do? What do? That's the goal. That's the goal of a sprint review, getting feedback from customers. Who is more important, stakeholders or customers? Actual users of a product. Obviously users, obviously customers. No one cares about stakeholders. No one cares about a director doing something for a director so that he gets a bonus. No, we care about customers, or at least we should be caring about customers. We should care about the product, delivering working software that provides value. That's the goal, and the best way to do that is to get feedback from actual customers. And we have an event for that. It's the sprint review, so please invite your customers. Not everyone, obviously, but select customers to your sprint review and get their feedback, because their feedback is the most important feedback. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.